Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X did meet briefly at a public event, but Jeff Stetson's play, The Meeting, comes almost entirely from the playwright's projection of what a meeting between the two might have been like. They famously embodied two different approaches to trying to end the oppression of African Americans by the dominant white society. King followed the example of Gandhi in India in using nonviolent demonstrations to end both the legal and the cultural restrictions that held black people down. Certainly the nonviolence worked for King in the Montgomery bus boycott, his first campaign. It was continuing to work in February of 1965, the date when Stetson places his fictitious meeting of the two. But Malcolm felt that after centuries of slavery and lynchings, of Medgar Evers shot down in his driveway, it was only right for the black man to take up arms to defend himself and his family. And he had made some pretty disparaging remarks about King and his creed of nonviolence, so King is a little on edge when he arrives at Malcolm's hotel room. He's met first by Malcolm's suspicious bodyguard. Malcolm's home had been bombed the night before. Being careful made sense. Both men are polite and a little wary, King more wary than Malcolm, whose turf they are on. And Malcolm does let a little resentment of King's advantages bleed through. Malcolm was an extremely intelligent man, but his family could offer him few educational opportunities, and he was largely self-taught, reading widely, much of it in a prison library. He mocks King's education. In the recent production by JPEK CreativeWorks Theater, both Jason Little, serendipitously named to play Malcolm, and Zachary Clark as King bring out the subtle ebb and flow of the men's encounter, their differences and their similarities. Playwright Stetson, perhaps because King and his ideas are better known than Malcolm's, allots Malcolm much more time than King to advance his positions, and Little's playing is livelier than Clark's, who could be a little hard to hear. It's nearly an hour into the 90-minute play before King gets a chance to celebrate what nonviolence has accomplished. I think it would be a better play with a true dramatic clash had King met Malcolm throughout, point and counterpoint. If I were ever to need a bodyguard, I'd want one as vigilant as the one played by Greg Jameson. Director Joel P. King chose a lean staging with typical hotel room furniture, backed with a projection screen used for occasional shots from both men's lives and of Billie Holiday singing, though I think less use of the visuals and more trust in the script would have been better. Kenneth Paris did lights, Mia Bible wardrobe, Black Pearl and Al Anderson sound. And it was the right weekend to do this thought-provoking play.
It was, and I'm glad we've seen it again.
Yeah, interesting piece.